Welcome to Coleman Report Live. I'm Bob Coleman, and we're talking Main Street post-Thanksgiving and the small business lenders that help it grow. Lance and Katie, I hope you all had a nice time off, nice time with the family, and good to see you all. And Lance, welcome.
It's good to be back, Bob. We had 3 Thanksgivings in my household to try to be COVID compliant.
And were you?
Yes, we were.
And Katie, I see you made it back from the great state of California to Washington, so it was probably nice to see your family.
Yeah, it was very nice seeing family, and I was saying before the show, we did get to fly, and really our first flight was almost empty, so we kind of lucked out.
All right, well, good. Well, I hopefully everyone's safe. Hey, thank you all for joining us. We're going to give you an update of where we are. Please ask your questions. We like those. These are the certificates. Be sure and download those. I know it's a pain, but it's the easiest way we can do it, but it does satisfy what you're doing for training, and this obviously is training. Lance, we're going to ask the first general question. Do you expect better business conditions, small business conditions on Main Street in the next 6 months?
Whoa. Well, this is a tough one.
The good news is there's no right answer. This is just your opinions.
No. Yeah, and I lean toward being one that thinks conditions may get a little worse and then they're going to improve.
I think you can put me in that. Yeah, I think the vaccine, when all's said and done, if that works, then you can put me in the yes. But you're right. Short term, it doesn't look good. Katie, you're doing a lot of reading and a lot of research. What's the consensus of the experts out there?
So we were seeing a lot of businesses were starting to say that they were expecting to see better conditions in the next 6 months. It declined slightly in October, about 5 points on NFIB's most recent scale. So that's at about 27%. So it is still, I would say that's actually higher than I would expect, considering everything that's going on right now. You're seeing a lot of small businesses close because of the pandemic. I know California just put some more strict restrictions on small businesses, on businesses in general, and you're starting to see that across the country. So seeing that 27%, I'm actually surprised it's not lower right now. You're also seeing other things, though. There's still a lot of businesses that are looking to hire right now. That's always the case near the holidays, but especially right now since there's so few people really able to work in these conditions. So there is a lot of hiring going on. Unfortunately, they can't find the people that are really qualified for what they are trying to hire for. So you are seeing some of those skilled labor positions that are staying open a little longer than Main Street would like to see. But overall, we are seeing some slight hiccups. Some things are going up, some things are going down. Of course, with more closures, you're going to have more problems. But there is a little bit more positivity that I'm seeing among small business owners.
What I'd like, Lance, is that bottom line. This is not the Great Recession issues. 97% of business owners say access to capital is not the problem. 97%, Lance, that's pretty high.
Well, access to capital really isn't the problem. The problem is customers walking in the door.
Revenues.
So revenue is more of a challenge, and even the businesses that are doing well during this pandemic, a lot of those businesses are still surviving, but the revenue levels are off. So it's kind of a tough environment. It really would be incredibly impactful if another stimulus package were to pass in the next week or two, but I have no idea if that's going to happen.
Very good. Number 2, what industry has the most common change of ownership SBA loans currently? And this is more of a sense of the industry, Lance. We don't really break it out this way in our stats. What do you think, Lance? Where would you vote?
I've had change of ownership projects that I've worked on in 4 of the 5 categories: hospitality, restaurant, dry cleaners, convenience stores. I do think going into 2021, we will see a lot of change of ownership opportunities in hospitality and restaurants.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, restaurants continue to get hammered. And finally, this is just another, we're asking general questions today. Do you think Small Business Saturday is effective? What I'm trying to determine on that, Lance, is this simply a marketing ploy, or is this something that is taking on? The history of this, by the way, is, Lance, correct me if I'm wrong, or Katie, it was about 10, 11 years ago. American Express started this in response to Amazon, because American Express wanted consumers to use their credit cards. And so they said, hey, we have Black Friday, so we'll do Small Business Saturday.
Right. I believe it was 2011.
Well, and there was something American Express did earlier this year that was pretty impactful, especially on me. They were giving $5 back on any purchase made at a small business, and it didn't really. It just made me use my American Express card more often. But you go into a restaurant, you buy a lunch for yourself, you spend $20, and you get $5 credit. That was pretty impactful on my part.
Yeah, absolutely. They're spending money to support small business. Again, the reason why, those are their customers. They want to use those charge cards. Katie, what are the other 2 numbers that you have on this?
So 62% of U.S. small businesses reported to American Express that they need to see customer spending to return to pre-COVID levels by the end of the year to really stay in business. I think that's really unfortunate. Hopefully, Small Business Saturday did help some of those businesses. I was just discussing with my husband earlier, though, a lot of the social media outlets that these businesses are using to market their products, like Instagram, have closed their hashtag search engine so that you can't search based on most recent publications. So that creates a problem because, like yesterday, when I was looking up things to buy for Christmas, I'm only seeing those things from Amazon and things like that. I'm not seeing any small businesses come up in that because it's not most recent, it's most popular and most liked things. So I do think that will probably have a negative effect on some of those small businesses right now. Hopefully they were able to get business from other locations, and hopefully some of them were open, but we still haven't really received the full stats for this year yet.
We got some other interesting things to talk about, but let's talk about Washington, Katie. Just give us a quick update. Where are we in Washington? When do we anticipate the next shoe to drop with respect to, we all read the same thing. We got 2 weeks to get this done. We got this. I'm not asking you to go out on a limb because none of us know in terms of seriousness, but how high on the discussion level is PPP, what I call 2.0, or additional stimulus?
I would expect it to be fairly high. I haven't really heard too much yet, but I have heard them mention that that's probably one of the first things they want to address. Of course, I saw some things like the vaccine, which would also, again, help small businesses as well. So I don't want to go out on too much of a limb. I would expect probably after inauguration, you're going to start seeing some movement. Right now, it's just a little bit quiet in Washington.
What do you think, Lance?
Well, we all know we need it. Small businesses need it. Individuals in America need it. And I've got to be honest with you, Bob, we've been talking about this for 2.5 months, 3 months, and it is absolutely necessary. I saw one congressional representative talking about, hey, we've got to take off our party attire and get together and pass something, because if we wait till after the inauguration to do something in the spring, it's not going to have the impact that it needs.
Another 2 months. I agree. Hopefully we'll be having good news shortly. This only applies to 400 loans, but we think it's important, Katie. if I have a loan that I'm going to forgiveness over $2 million, where do I go and where do I make sure I'm following all the proper procedures?
So there is a new letter as well as a short little PowerPoint that goes over exactly how to handle these loans that are over $2 million. There's 28,982 of those loans out there. And they are saying they are reviewing all of those. So be prepared. If you have one of those loans, you're probably going to get an email saying that you're going to need to fill that out. You're getting these emails through the portal. It'll tell you which borrowers need to fill it out. And then there, of course, is some deadlines there. You've got about 5 days to send that to the borrower. The borrower has 10 days to get back to you. And then you have another 5 days to submit that in the portal. So, of course, if you have any of those, it's a great opportunity. I believe we have it in our handouts. Go through the PowerPoint. It walks you right through exactly where to click, what to submit, and things like that.
Okay, very good. I love these stories in terms of what's going across the pond. I love their terminology. Basically, bottom line, Katie, is they've done what I call the PPP 2.0, which is they call the top ups. What's a top up? To a bounce back. Top up to a bounce back.
Yeah, so it's basically what 2.0 would be for PPP. They're going to allow borrowers who already received some funds to get some more funding, especially since I believe the UK just put some much harsher restrictions a few days ago. So this is going to really help some of those businesses that had to close because of those restrictions. This wasn't allowed before, so now this is great for those small businesses. UK's biggest bank said on Tuesday that the applications were in the low thousands. That's each bank saying that. There are only a few banks participating. Originally, there were 28 lenders. They're trying to get more lenders involved, but there's really only a very small portion of non-bank lenders involved right now. So the problem was you were getting these businesses that were going that were going to their banks and their banks weren't participating. And just like in the U.S., you had some of those larger banks that were participating saying that they were focusing on their own customers first. So there was a problem with that. So really, you've got just a handful of these lenders doing about 90% of those loans right now. Other than that, it's hopefully going well. They've got about $40 billion, or 40 billion pounds, I should say, that they've lent already. 1.3 million loans. So it is starting to gain some traction, but they just need more lenders to participate.
Very good. So in that instance, for example, if you had a PPP lender in the United States who's paid it down under the UK scheme, they would be able to re-borrow that. Where obviously that's one of the things they're going to be talking about. Hopefully there's a lot of options for Congress to consider. Interesting study that Yelp came out with. What percentage of their businesses closed, but unfortunately that red line are permanent closures. What percentage is that, Katie?
I believe we're talking over 60% now, which is unfortunate. You are seeing this was from a few months ago. I believe they're going to have another one here shortly, but it is going up. And I think as we're starting to see harsher shutdowns, and as a lot of places are putting in a lot more restrictions after the holidays or heading into the holidays. So I unfortunately anticipate that number to go up.
Yeah, and that's 100,000. That's 100,000 small businesses. So that's unfortunate. Lance, when your webinar tomorrow, one of the major themes you're going to be talking about is calculating cash flow. What's new with that in terms of a business acquisition loan when someone has a PPP loan and or an EIDL loan on their books?
Well, they have to be addressed in the cash flow calculation, understanding how to deal with an EIDL loan that exists on a borrower that's coming in, that an existing business is selling has, or a PPP loan. So we're going to talk about how to deal with those in underwriting compliantly with SBA. But In the past, Bob, we had our basic business acquisition requirements from SBA. Now we've got additional requirements. We've got, COVID worksheets to complete. We have to deal with, PPP loans that exist in the selling businesses as well as idle loans that exist in the selling businesses. So we're going to cover all that tomorrow.
Very good. Lance, this is for you. Craig asked the question, I'm confused. Do we need wet signatures on PPP forgiveness apps? There seems to be different guidance out there for the lenders.
I'm right with you. I'm a little confused because most people are accepting digital signatures on those forgiveness applications. Usually there is the need to follow up with a wet signature at some point, but SBA is accepting digital signatures on those applications that are submitted to SBA.
Yeah, Craig, my interpretation is if you've gone through your DocuSign procedure, you use that for your notes, you're fine. SBA did allow fax signatures for notes and now in forgiveness apps, and those are the ones they're focusing on, that they want the wet signature within 90 days. Yeah. If I'm wrong, please correct me. But that's my current understanding of where we are, is that if you use DocuSign, you're okay. I think it's a fair statement.
I agree.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great. We are, Lance it's talking about his webinar, and we're going to have our secondary market summit online Thursday and Friday. We're finishing up the agenda. It's going to be, unfortunately, it's not Washington, D.C. It's not there. But the good news is you get to stay home. But we are going to highlight what's going to be happening in 2021, and please take advantage of that. And Lance and Katie, it's good to see you back. We're going to have a lot of news over the next 30 days. I'm looking at the numbers. I think this is a record number for our show, so thank you for your support. And thank you for joining us for Coleman Report Live and for supporting America's Main Street, one entrepreneur at a time.
Have a great afternoon.